Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York City, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to our show. Welcome to Wisdom of the Sages. It's a daily study of yoga wisdom literature, focusing on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Fantastic for yoga teachers, fans of yoga culture who want to add spiritual direction to their life. What do you think about that as an introduction statement?
That worked for me.
Fans of yoga culture.
Okay.
How are you, Prabhu?
Oh, good. It was nice Nishringa Chaturthi. I mean, not the typical Nishringa Chaturthi because we're locked down.
Yeah.
So usually that's an occasion of getting together with everyone and all that. So I missed that a little bit, but at the same time, felt some kind of auspiciousness coming down.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It's a nice day.
It's nice to take those days, do a little extra reading, a little extra chanting, a little extra introspection. Capo family did the same thing. It was very sweet. We had a sweet morning with the kids.
Good.
And picked lots of flowers, made beautiful offerings, and it was great. Mara, how are you?
Well, thank you.
We're all NPR today.
We always are. As soon as you become NPR, then we all are.
We're always gonna. I'm usually either like insane or asleep. That's my like switch.
Okay. By the way, who was it that made that? Someone made. I don't know if you've seen it yet, Robbie, or heard it yet. But someone made a little sound clip of your noises and stuff like that.
Oh,
They posted it on Patreon. You haven't heard it? I should play it right now.
Sound clip of my noises, like.
I don't know if this will play, but I'm gonna try to play it right now.
Not like my snorts, my slurps. What?
It's mostly laughing and stuff like that.
That's better.
I don't know if it's gonna allow me to play it. Maybe if I played it on my phone. You go ahead and keep going. I'm gonna see if I can pull this.
Anyway, we have about 114 people here live on Zoom, but we're getting a lot of download. We're getting like 7,000 to 10,000 listens a day. It's quite amazing, the power of the Bhagavatam. But live we have 114 in our secret little Zoom club. If you'd like to join that club, you can. There's a few hoops you got to jump through. First one is you got to contact Mara at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. Tell your friends about Wisdom of the Sages. It's good to show people you love them by giving them transcendental wisdom. That's why we do this stuff. It helps us. And we like to spread it around to people. It's our joy. And if you'd like to join our Patreon group, if you want to support us, it's a listener-supported podcast, and everybody supports us. We're really grateful for you. It's Wisdom of the Sage, Patreon at Wisdom of the Sage. Wait, what is it? Patreon / Wisdom of the Sages. Patreon.com/Wisdom of the Sages. And once you get on Patreon, we have a whole nother. Imagine in your house, you find a secret door, and that enters you into a whole nother chambers. You unlock secret chambers within your home. That's what it does. We have other classes and lectures and an incredible discussion chat maze you can get lost in. It's wonderful, and I like being on there too to catch up with everybody.
I got it, Raghu.
Oh.
This was put together by Uddhava Sandesh. Is his name?
Oh, Uddhava. Okay. This is what the brahmacharis are doing in their spare time.
This is what they do nowadays.
It's the Denver brahmacharis.
Here it goes. It's entitled Raghu's Ecstatic Noises.
It's coming. I say what? Clink, clank. What happened?
understand. You just blew Raghu's mind.
All right, there it is. That's the non-NPR Raghu.
Well, that's a good intro to read Laura Rubino's letter. Laura Rubino wrote a very sweet letter, and she's been a regular on the show since before it was the show, and when it was merely a Bhagavatam class. I think I was actually more insane during those classes, but
maybe you were.
There was less fear of like, what will people say? Mary, you want to read that?
Yep. Thank you, Prabhu. I've been wanting to read the Srimad Bhagavatam for a couple years now, but I felt intimidated because of the many cantos to get through. Now, wisdom of the sages makes it accessible to me. On this auspicious day of Lord Nrsingadev, I have received my collection of Srimad Bhagavatam from the New York City Harinam. I recall the first time I heard you tell the story of Nrsingadev at the ISKCON temple in Delhi, our first stop on pilgrimage in front of the statue. It has left deep mental imprints and brings me happiness to think of these times. The story just gets sweeter and sweeter each time I hear it from you. Please stay loud and annoying because that's why everyone loves you.
There you
The
go.
polls are in.
That's great. Laura's such a great person, and great to see. There you go. We're just talking about the New York City Harinam, getting those Bhagavatam sets out, and her set arrived yesterday.
Yeah, how incredible. And another thing about these stories, it's good to hear them again and again, and they stay within your heart. And Laura's so sincere that, when you take this, when you take truth and apply it to your life, it transforms you. We don't just want to read books on knowledge. We want to read books of knowledge and then apply them. And that's how we get wise. Otherwise, we're just filled with a bunch of interesting information. But I have to apply this stuff. Application is everything. That's what we say on the show a lot. Application is everything. Got to put this stuff to practice. And the more you start to put, it's almost like fertilizer. The more you start putting it to practice, the more the whole Bhagavatam starts to blossom. And the more the Bhagavatam starts to reveal itself. And I find it true during this whole pandemic, it's a good chance to sort of hunker down with spiritual information or hunker down with a bunch of extra nonsense in your life. So it's been a real blessing. So thank you, everybody. And thank you, Laura. We love you. What do you say we dive into the Srimad Bhagavatam today, Sarah?
Sarah? Is that what you said?
What do we say we dive into the Srimad Bhagavatam, sir?
Oh, sir. Okay, I thought you said Sarah.
Sarah? Yeah, Sarah. Is Sarah out there?
I'm ready to go.
Okay. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narotamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our ultimate means of conquest, one should offer obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta priyeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, whose praise with transcendental songs will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnanatamurandasya Kyananjana Silakaya Chakshurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1.
I like that melody you just chanted. That was a little different this morning.
You know what?
That's
how I chanted in class usually, in my yoga classes.
I like that.
We're in Canto 1, Chapter
11.
Chapter 11. Text 11. Text 18.
Yeah.
They hasten towards the Lord in chariots. Is that where we're at?
Yep.
All right. They hastened towards the Lord on chariots with brahmanas bearing flowers. Before them were elephants, emblems of good fortune. Conch shells and bugles were sounded, and Vedic hymns were chanted. Thus they offered their respects, which were saturated with affection. Purport. The Vedic way of receiving a great personality, did we read this? Creates an atmosphere of respect, which is saturated with affection and veneration for the person received. It's really true. They really do this. Mm-hmm. The auspicious atmosphere of such a reception depends on the paraphernalia described above, including conch shells, flowers, incense, decorated elephants, and the qualified brahmanas reciting verses from the Vedic literatures. Such a program of reception is full of sincerity on the part of both the receiver and the received. So if you really want to welcome a guest, you need an elephant. Nope. You know what I was appreciating in this verse is like when we go to India on pilgrimage, we don't just take people to India. Anybody can just go to India. We're actually trying to resurrect, and it's because it's still there, but sort of fan the culture of ancient India, which is what we're fans of, what we're lovers of, practically speaking, we've abandoned our life in support of this culture. It even gives meaning to the concept of culture. Never made sense to me. I always thought, who cares? So many cultures, different cultures, modern culture. You know, it gives meaning to culture. It gives meaning to ethics. Why be ethical? Why do it? Why make up these rules of what to do, what not to do what feels good? It gives meaning to ethics. It's the meaning behind everything. And the idea is that people, when they come, you want to receive them with such love and affection, because ultimately you're seeing divinity in that person. The way of receiving a great personality creates an atmosphere of respect. You know who does this is, Radha Swami is really good for this. When a person comes and he wants to introduce the person, it's never like, okay, and here's the mic, Louis. It's please, welcome. And he goes into the person's like bio, but seeing the greatness in that person more than that person could even see it in themselves. And what happens is, in that appreciation, the person's humbled, but also it makes the audience want to hear from that person. And it's just a culture of respect. And it seems like, very quickly in Kali Yuga, we're just losing it. Everyone's just, what I don't like, those, I don't even know what they're called, but they're those, is it the Emmy Awards? It's some awards where they're giving out awards and they're just like ripping on everyone. Where did that culture come from? Let's publicly humiliate people. And I'll laugh about it at this person's expense. What are those called? What awards are those?
I don't know. Probably any of those awards, right?
All
Oscars,
those awards,
Emmys.
The roasts.
Those are celebrity roasts.
I think they're more than roasts. I think they're not just the roasts.
Well, those shows have like an MC who kind of comes out and does a monologue at the beginning, I suppose, and they may start to make fun of the people and the stars in the audience.
Don't like it. Don't like
that culture.
If that was me, I'd probably cry.
Okay.
Just like cry.
I'm leaving.
Out of here.
And the winner is Raghunath. Oh, but he's not here. He left during the monologue.
He left in tears.
He left in tears during the monologue.
That's a culture of respect and appreciation and love. It's a sweet. You worship a sweet God, and you become sweeter.
Yeah, this word here is used in the verse pranayagata, which is translated as saturated with affection. And so our culture is meant to be somehow assisting us to coming to that stage. We're like, we have this heart. I always think of our friend and mentor, Gunagrahi Maharaj, who, passed away 2 years ago or so, 2.5 years ago. And when he, or 1.5 years ago, I think it was. And when he died, his final words were just like, my heart is so full of love, so full of gratitude, so full of love and gratitude. Now, those are his last words.
His final words.
And that's where yoga is meant to take you. And so it's as you were saying, let's not focus just on the condiment, which, like, say maybe asana is how, you know, a lot of people in the Western world are introduced to yoga, but it's so much more than that. It's meant to, you know, if asana could be a door into a much broader yoga culture,
It's asana
then
is an
there's so
incredible
much to gain.
threshold,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And so, you know, when we want to die, do we want to be full of bitterness, or do we want to be full of anger, or do we want to be full of nostalgia, or trying to reach back, or fear? Or can we die in the words that spontaneously come from us are, my heart is so much full of gratitude, so much full of love. And so the culture was designed, you know, you grow up and you watch, oh, this is how they greet someone. They speak words, you know, thoughtful words about the good in this person. And you see, I want to be like that. And naturally you create a culture. I think that's a lot what you try to do with your 6 pillars, you know, see the good in others and let them know it.
Sure.
You know, don't take offense yourself. Then you're just kind of cultivating that bitterness in the heart. So I'm not going to take offense. In that way, I'm going to protect my own heart from becoming bitter. I'm going to see the good in others. My heart's just going to become sweeter and sweeter, more saturated with affection. And so this was a culture that was designed around, you know, Bhagavatam is pointing this out specifically, you know, all of that etiquette that we have with each other is also meant to prepare our heart that we can feel for God.
It's when you put these bhakti principles to your life, you actually transform yourself. You witness yourself transform. I witnessed myself transform, and I'm still a work in progress. I'm still at the bottom of the mountain, but it works. And that's the only reason why I move forward every day is it actually tangibly works. So you can criticize it. You can have lack of faith in it. You can think it's all fantastic. Whatever it is, it's working on me, and it's making me a different being. I was thinking back to my children are so nice. I was hanging out with my children yesterday. I was just thinking to myself, I wasn't even a nice kid. I was looking back. They're so nice. I was looking at, we were just doing some yard work, and I was thinking, Rocco, you were so nice. I wasn't that nice when I was little. I was mean. I was mean-spirited. I was rude. I was cruel. I was sarcastic. I was a bully. You know, it was like, I wouldn't even like me now. I've seen the Bhagavad, at a certain point in life, like there was like, I definitely turned the road, and the Bhagavatam was like finishing school. It's just like working on me, working out, going through my entire like having psychic surgery to like cut off all my bad habits that I cultivated. God knows how many lifetimes I've been cultivating bad habits. But I'm grateful. But you have to really apply it on a regular basis, and you have to surround yourself. This is why Zoom is so good. All glories to Zoom. It's a community, and people have said that. Have you noticed that? People have said, I actually had to miss the show today. I listened later on the podcast, but the Zoom group is so special. Did you ever notice that people write in and say that? Mm-hmm. It's about seeing the faces in the community, and it's the community. That's what community does. It gives you strength, and it gives you accountability when you are weak, and sometimes we are weak. And so the community bolsters you when we are weak, and we lift the community when we are strong.
All right.
So thank you. Thank you for making me buoy me. It buoys me when I'm down.
Buoys. Okay.
It's better than bolstered. Buoys.
Text 19.
Text 19. At the same time, many hundreds of well-known prostitutes. What? Excuse me. At the same time, many hundreds of well-known prostitutes. I'm sorry, I thought I just said prostitutes. Hundreds of well-known prostitutes. Am I reading the right book?
You are.
Did I skip and go to some other book I'm reading?
This is how Krishna was greeted when he came to Dwaraka.
Okay.
Everybody came.
I'm just going to read it like it's, just read it. At the same time, many hundreds of well-known prostitutes began to proceed on various vehicles. Various vehicles?
What kind of vehicles? Okay, Raghu, hang in there.
What were the vehicles?
You know, they had like chariots, like horse-drawn carts and things like that.
I'm trying to think, what are all these prostitutes riding?
Okay, Raghu.
I'm sorry.
Bring it back. What happened to NPR, Raghu?
I think my mind is picturing prostitutes riding various vehicles.
I'm sure they were very beautiful, and they were really cool vehicles too.
Yes, yes. They were all very eager to meet the Lord, and their beautiful faces were decorated with dazzling earrings, which enhanced the beauty of their foreheads.
Kind of frames the forehead, I guess.
Can I read the purport on that? I'm trying to get to the bottom of this, or we can skip over it. It's your call. You want to read it?
Well, let's read from it.
Okay. What do you do?
I've got.
Because I'm
So Prabhupada writes. There's some really nice things he brings out here. You know, he says even to date, there are many prostitutes in the great cities of India who are sincere devotees of the Lord. By tricks of chance, one may be obliged to adopt a profession which is not very adorable in society, but that does not.
Whoa! Tricks of chance.
I think this is
what a way to
little
put
phrase. Yeah.
Life's. Sometimes people do things that are horrible just because of the way fate has dealt them life. And here's it's saying, all right, go on. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No. I like that you're bringing that out, that you're highlighting that, because I find especially since we started doing the show and going back to before, last year when we were calling it the Super Soul Sacred Sangha. But, more than ever, we're hearing from people that are like, you start to read Bhagavatam, you join the show, you're tuning in every day, you're getting thinking more deeply about life. And then you begin to wonder, what is this occupation I'm doing? Should I really be doing this? Should I really be working for this company or with these people with this particular mission to make money in this particular way? Is there something impure about it? Is there something wrong about it? Do I need, in order to progress on this path, do I need to turn away from this immediately? And, the answer, it may be yes or no, but what Srila Prabhupada's pointing out here, that term by tricks of chance to me seems like a very generous kind of like, wait, let's not worry about how this happened, right? How you got in this situation. He says one may be obliged to adopt a profession which is not very adorable in society, or something that it seems to be compromised morally in some way.
We're all thinking right now, have we ever done a profession that was a little bit?
I mean, nowadays it's like, it's hard almost not to, the way, it's like,
right.
It's not like you open up your own little, you can't just open up your bookstore anymore because, Barnes and Noble is going to wipe you out. You can't just, open up your cafe because, Starbucks is going to wipe you. It's kind of like, we're
working for everybody's got dirty hands.
It's hard not to. Yeah, it's hard not to. So let's continue reading, but this, I think it's an important point here. It says, by tricks of chance, one may be obliged to adopt a profession which is not very adorable in society, but that does not hamper one in executing devotional service to the Lord. Devotional service to the Lord is uncheckable in all circumstances. Right? So even if we're in some situation which we feel is not ideal, we may change it, and that may be a great thing, or we may find that, I just can't. I really wish I could, but it would be so disruptive to my life, to the responsibilities that I have to care for others, whatever it may be. But one can understand here that ultimately what matters is what's going on in one's heart. It's not so much about the activities that I'm obliged to perform. It has to do with what's going on internally. And so here the prostitutes, probably saying, even to this day, there's prostitutes that are just great devotees,
Riding unicycles.
Right.
That's what's been in my mind this whole time, a unicycle.
So then he begins to talk about this really famous saint, Bilvamangala Thakur, right? And how he was kind of got his instructions on how he should change his life from the prostitute named Cintamani. So he says, Shri Bilvamangala Thakur, the great Acharya of the Vishnu Swami Vaishnava sect. So he's a great teacher in one of the sampradayas, one of the lineages of Krishna Bhakti. In his householder life was overly attached to a prostitute who happened to be a devotee of the Lord. One night when the Thakur came to Cintamani's house in torrents of rain and thunder, Cintamani was astonished to see how the Thakur could have come on such a dreadful night after crossing a foaming river which was full of waves. So he was so out of control that on a stormy night, you know, he actually swam across a river to get to this prostitute.
It was like sex addiction. I'll do anything. It's
Yeah.
a crazy night. I'm going to risk my life, but I have to see this prostitute.
It's even described like as he's trying to swim across the river and at night in this storm, like he saw a log floating that he could hold on to, and it turned out to be like a dead body floating down the river. And he's like, oh my God.
I mean, if you think about when people go out for their drug of choice, if they're
Yeah.
addicts, they risk everything to get that drug. They put themselves in questionable situations. They put themselves in great danger. They hang out in bad neighborhoods, even if you're from a good family or have a respectable upbringing. And here it was Bilvamangala Thakur. That's exactly what it did. And when he finally got to the prostitute's door, she said,
What?
I'm trying to
I
let
can't
you finish
believe
the
you
story.
call it.
I'm trying to let you finish the story.
Oh, I
'cause
see.
just
So
jumped in.
she said to Thakur Bilvamangala that his attraction for the flesh and bone of an insignificant woman like her would be properly utilized if it could be diverted to the devotional service of the Lord to achieve attraction for the transcendental beauty of the Lord. So she says, you're so attracted to me. If only you had that attraction for Krishna, your life would be perfect. She said it to him like that, you know?
It's amazing, huh?
Yeah.
It's almost like somebody says one thing to you and it changes the entire trajectory of your life. And this is what happened to Bilvamangala Thakur.
Yeah.
The prostitute sort of chastised him. Look how attached you are to me. Why don't you just be attached to Bhagavan, to Thakurji, to Krishna? And then he was like, what am I doing? And there's a lot of times, and you could probably think of your own life, when somebody said one thing, one phrase, and like, that's over. This part of my life is official. The book is closed. The chapter's ended. You're going to open up a whole new chapter of your existence. It's amazing. I've had it happen to me too, where someone says one little thing. You know that story of
Got to change.
that famous Vrindavan?
Yeah. Sadhu,
What's
who
he
was a
called?
politician.
Lalu Baba.
Lalu Baba.
Lalu Baba, very wealthy businessman, Calcutta.
Lalu Babu. Yeah.
Lala Babu.
Yeah.
There's a big temple of Vrindavan. And he was a businessman, I think, from Calcutta. And he was raised in a spiritual family, but he got really into business his whole life. Business and business and business and
I
business.
think even politics was his thing. I think he was a politician.
Oh, yeah.
Are you mixing up with Palgu Baba? Because Palgu
I'm not
Baba
thinking of no. Not Pagal Baba. That's a different Baba.
Palgu Baba.
This is Lalu Baba. He's got the big temple near Gopi Shore Mahadev.
Oh, okay. Right. So he was a politician, I believe.
Anyway, he had vast amounts of money.
Yeah.
And then he was, but he was getting older. But sometimes you're older, you're still attached to the things you're attached to, and you're forgetting all your spiritual instructions. And then one day, just a little humble woman sweeping, and he was standing while she was sweeping, and she was sort of like taking up the roadway. And she said, "Hey, the sun is setting," meaning I've got to finish my job here. The sun is setting.
Yeah.
Move along. And when he heard that, he took it as the sun is setting in my life. What am I doing? It's time to move along. It says something click, and he got rid of everything, sold everything, left everything, and went to Vrindavan, took his fortune, built this beautiful temple you can go visit still. And this is the Lalu Baba Mandir.
There you go. So here Prabhupada says that this moment for Bilvamangala Thakur, he says it was a momentous hour for the Thakur. And he took a turn towards spiritual realization by the words of the prostitute. So he said, "You were right. What am I? Look at me." Right. And I think that is a point, where, you describe this as like an addiction, and where a lot of people that go through addiction, they hit that point where they're just like, I got to change.
It's over.
So it was a momentous hour for the Thakur, and he took a turn towards spiritual realization by the words of the prostitute. Later on, the Thakur accepted the prostitute as his spiritual master. And in several places of his literary works, he has glorified the name of Cintamani, who showed him the right path. So that's the term for that is Vartma Pradarshaka Guru, the guru that shows you the path, right? It may not be like necessarily someone who's like going to be giving you spiritual instructions for the rest of your life or something, but they pointed you in the right direction. And so even in his books, and by the way, let's read some from some of Bilvamangala Thakur.
Krishna Karnamrita, he said he glorifies Cintamani. I first offer my
Chintamani.
obeisances to my instructing spiritual master, Cintamani.
Yeah, because she showed him the right path. So again, I think this is a really nice point that by tricks of chance, we may end up in all kinds of situations. We don't
By tricks
judge.
of chance.
We don't judge
love
people
that.
that way. We always want to try to understand the heart of someone, you know.
If anybody's
And,
got a story about tricks of chance that they fell into, you can write it on the board here.
Yeah. Shall we read a little Bilvamangala?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's just see how one
I
person
pulled
transformed
up,
his life and what he wrote.
I mean, I'll tell you something. So this is it's called the Govinda Damodara Stotram.
Oh, yes.
I mean, for me, to be honest, this is my favorite poetry of all, I think. I mean, this is like, I just love this so much. There's so much in it. It's so beautiful. Those fans of Gauravani, we're going to have Gauravani's mother, Rukmini, on Sunday. But if those who listen to Gauravani's music, he sings a verse from this and then adds a Bhagavad Gita verse to it that Govinda Damodara Madhava. Right? Is that it's one of the sweetest. I still don't understand why you should sing that one, Raghu. It's like right up your alley. You'd do great with that one.
You're kind. You're very
it's
gracious.
got the bob. It's got that kind of bob that you connect with. So this is it's a prayer that there's a verse in Bhagavatam that describes the gopis feeling separation from Krishna. And they cry out Govinda Damodara Madhava. And so he took that verse. That verse is included in this Stotram, the Govinda Damodara Stotram, but he wrote a whole series of verses that they all end with the refrain, Govinda Damodara Madhava. Oh Govinda, oh Damodar, oh Madhava. And I just love this. How should we read this? Should we? Well, I think it's worth doing the Sanskrit.
How about you read one, I'll read one. You read one, I'll read one. You want to read the Sanskrit, or?
I think it's.
I'm gonna butcher it, I think.
How about I read the Sanskrit and you read the translation?
Oh, let's do that.
Okay, let me blow it up a little bit here. Okay, here we go. Ready? Agre kurunam atapandavanam dushasane narta vash. I'm screwing it up. Dushasane nartrita vastrakesha Krishna tada kroshad ananyanata Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Before the assembled Kurus and Pandavas, when Dushasana caught her hair and clothing, Draupadi, having no other lord, cried out, Govinda Damodar Madhava. The story of the disrobing of Draupadi. Even the first verse is totally heart-wrenching, you know? Shri Krishna Vishnu Madhukaita Bhare Bhaktanukampim Bhagavan Murare Trayashvamam Keshva Lokanata Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. O Lord Krishna, Vishnu, enemy of Madhu and the Kaitaba demons. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, enemy of Mura, merciful to the devotees, O Keshava, Lord of the worlds, Govinda Damodar Madhava, please deliver me. Now this third verse, to me it's so funny, but it's got so much, it says so much about that deep, saturated feeling of love for Krishna. You ready? Yeah. Vikre tukama kila gopa kanya murari padarpita chitta vritti. The chitta vritti, this is a yogic one, right? Where how her mind's moving. Dhadyadikam mohavashad avochad Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Though desiring to sell milk, dahi, which is yogurt, butter, etc., the mind of a young gopi was absorbed in the lotus feet of Krishna, that instead of calling out milk for sale, so little girl selling milk products, she just cried out, Govinda Damodar Madhava. It's like, this is something, we should read this when we go to Vrindavan next. I tell you, it's like, you know, she's got to hide her affection for Krishna. She's a young girl. She can't be letting everybody know that she's in love with Krishna. And she's going out to sell milk, but her mind is so, this is, you know, yoga chitta vritti nirodha, right? which is how Patanjali defines yoga in the Yoga Sutras. It's when you stop the fluctuations of the citta vritti and it becomes focused on one point. Her mind is so focused on Krishna that even though she's supposed to be selling milk for sale, she's so absorbed in love for Krishna, she cries out, Govinda Damodara Madhava, without even realizing it.
It's when you get your mind so focused on something. You ever do this where you're actually thinking about something and you blurt out something else by mistake?
Yeah, exactly.
I was a waiter once when I was a brand new waiter at this vegetarian restaurant, and a guy bought a cup of coffee and left me a $20 tip. And I was like, oh my God, you're 19 years old. You're thinking, well, you're loving
$20 a lot of money back then.
The guy came back in, and I was like, to all the other people back in the cafe, I was like, this is the guy that left me the $20 tip. This is the guy that left me the $20. So finally I said, instead of saying, can I get you anything else? I said, can I get you any tip? So like your mind is focused on money. Everything you see is money. If your mind is focused on the opposite sex, same sex, whatever, everything you see is sexual. If your mind is focused on skateboarding, everything is, I'll shred that, I'll grind that, I'll ollie off that. If your mind is focused on Krishna, then even you're trying to do your regular service, your regular work, and you're just saying, oh, Krishna, oh, like you say the wrong word, but it's Krishna that's coming out. Even your dreams, you'll dream about Krishna.
Oh, yeah. A Freudian slip, right?
Freudian slip.
Yeah. Okay. Ulu kale samvrita tandulanscha sangha hatatyantyo mushale pramughada gayanti gopyo Janitanuraga, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti.
The grinding mortars full of grains, the gopis' minds are overcome as they thresh with pestles, singing. Oh, they're grinding mortars full of grains. So they're grinding up the grains, but their minds are overcome as they're grinding, and they just can't stop singing these names.
Govinda Damodara Madhava. And you know, there's every one of these verses, although it's kind of sweet and quaint, and so, you know, this is what is happening in the spiritual realm in the lives of the perfected devotees. What are they doing? They're singing Govinda Damodara Madhava. Now in Bhakti Yoga, as compared to the path to say Ashtanga Yoga or Jnana Yoga or Karma Yoga, all of those paths, it's like in Ashtanga Yoga, you want to still the mind. And then when the mind is still, then you can be, then the perfection of it is that you're connected to God. So, but you go through all of this technical process to still the mind. And in Jnana Yoga, you go through this whole process of analysis or renunciation to break the attachments in the mind. But then the value of it becomes, then you take that mind and then offer it to Krishna. In Bhakti Yoga, you begin with the end in mind. In Bhakti, you begin, the practice at the beginning is never let go of. In Ashtanga Yoga, once you've achieved the goal, you're not still doing pranayama and you're not still doing, you know, asana and these things. Those are means to an end. In Bhakti Yoga, the means and the end are the same. The means is chanting, is kirtan. It's singing the names of God to purify the mind. In the end, that's what you do with the mind. It's meant to be absorbed in God, in the end as well. So this is.
I don't want to sit still and shut up. I want to sing. I want to dance. Right?
That's right.
Do I have to sit still my entire life? What am I in detention? Let me sing and let me dance and let me have a personal conception of a higher power, please.
All right.
Come on. No talking. No talking.
And it's illustrating how this is the kind of the most perfectly holistic path, because right from the beginning, you begin to practice it. You don't even have to have some kind of qualification. Anyone can sing Govinda Damodara Madhava and begin practicing Bhakti Yoga. And in the end, that's what you do in its perfection, in its mature state.
Would you like to hear my new analogy, Kaustubha?
Yeah. What's that?
The concept of Jnana Yoga is we're trying to escape the pain of material existence. So we cut off our connection with the senses and we just go inside, which is equivalent of like being in a prison where you're constantly getting harassed. You know, in prison, you're getting harassed by other gangs and other criminals and your cellmate, and like in the courtyard, you get, you know, there's you get shanked. So you're like begging, please give me my own cell so I'll be safe. That's the equivalent of just you're cutting out everything else so you can feel just the relief from the pain of existence.
Okay.
We don't want that. We don't want the relief from the pain of existence. We want to be free. We want out of the prison house. Bhakti is, you are dancing right out of the prison house.
There you go.
What do you think? Should I
like
run with
that.
that? Should I tease that one out more?
I think you can run with that. Yeah, tease it out more. I think more like the misbehaved student in school that's got to go in the corner and be silent rather than participate. Right? It's not like the silence is a perfection. The silence is just meant to get the person out of all the nonsense that they were doing.
Well, I'm
the
using
perfection is when they're engaged.
using prison because it's a little bit more graphic, and sometimes you can really get into that.
Okay.
Dark space.
That shank thing was.
It's sort of a scared straight type of a thing.
Gotcha. Okay, it's a scared straight. Thank you. Perfect.
Okay, continue, please.
Kachit karam bhoj apute nishanam kridas shukam kim shuka raktatundam adyapayam asha saro rukakshi Govinda Damodara Madhava. Beautiful poetry, huh?
Yes. Oh, lotus-eyed girl instructed the red-beaked pet parrot that was seated in the cup of her lotus hand and said, Govinda Damodara Madhava.
Every one of these verses is like,
what's going on there? She's just talking to her parrot.
She's training up her parrot to chant Krishna's names.
Oh.
It's like, this is like a snapshot of Vrindavan, left and right. They're just like, what's going on in Vrindavan? Over here, there's like a beautiful girl, right?
Every devotee who's had a parrot has been trying to teach them.
Right.
Serious. I know people who've had devotees or people who've had parrots that have tried to make their parrot chant.
But all these are snapshots of the spiritual world. And here's like a beautiful girl that's like her heart is full of love for Krishna, and she's got her beautiful parrot in her hand, and she's training it up because all she wants to hear is Krishna's name. When she hears Krishna's name, she feels devotional ecstasy. So she's training up her parrot, Govinda Damodara Madhava, and then saying, Govinda Damodara. So it's just every verse is just like every one of these verses is saturated with affection for Krishna directly.
And now I'm going to do the Sanskrit. You do the English.
All right.
Grihe gopavadu samuha pratishanam pinchara sarikanam sklalad giram vachyetum pravrito. Blew that one. Govinda Damodara Madhaveti.
Okay, more parrot pastimes. In each and every house, a bevy of Gopa women is engaged in making the caged parrots constantly utter with broken words, Govinda Damodara Madhava. How's that parrot imitation? Is that okay?
What's a bevy?
It's like a group, I guess.
A group. Okay.
Mara, what's a bevy?
A group? I don't know.
See,
You better go back to that private school, Mara.
Okay, next.
Paryan kikabajam alam kumarang prasvapayadanto kilagopa kanyaha jagu prabandam svarathala bandang Govinda Damodara Madhaveti.
With the little boy, Krishna, lying in the swing, all the gopis used to expertly sing compositions set to musical notes and rhythm. They went Govinda Damodara Madhava while putting him to rest.
Ramanujam vikshana kelik lolam gopi grihit vanavanita golam abalakam balakam ajuhava Govinda Damodara Madhaveti.
The younger brother of Balaram was playing mischievously. So Krishna's playing, he's a little boy crawling. This is one's for you, Raghu. You ready? Krishna's crawling around, but he's getting into trouble.
He's very naughty.
He was dodging around with restless eyes. So now the gopi, she has to do something about this, right? The elderly gopi in the neighborhood. Oh, he's going to get into trouble. Taking a ball of fresh butter to lure him over, a gopi called, "Oh, Govinda Damodara Madhava." You like that one?
Vichitra varna barana brirami videhi vaktrambuja rajas hangse sadamadiye rasane graha ranje Govinda Damodara Madhava.
Okay, quite a few of the verses in this Stotram are instructions to the tongue. O my tongue, since my mouth has become like a lotus by dint of the presence there of these eloquent, ornamental, delightful syllables, you are like the swan that plays there. As your foremost pleasure, always articulate the names Govinda, Damodara, Madhava.
Interesting. Instructing your tongue.
Be like the swan.
Ankad dirudam shishugopa gudham stanam dayantam kamalaika kantam sambodayam asu madaya shoda Govinda Damodara Madhaveti.
Okay, so now this verse it's showing how it speaks of Krishna as the Lord of Lakshmi Devi. That means Lord Vishnu, the controller of the universe, the all-powerful, omniscient, omnipresent, the God that we see with great awe and reverence. And then it contrasts that with how he manifests as Krishna, or how he is manifest as Krishna, in the very sweetest, most intimate way. You can't know Lord Vishnu like that, but you can know Lord Vishnu when he's Krishna like that. The one and only Lord of Lakshmi Devi, as an inconspicuous little cowherd baby, was seated in the lap of Mother Yashoda, drinking her breast milk. Merged in bliss, she addressed him as Govinda Damodara Madhava.
It's just a little baby.
You see, it's starting to get to Raghu right now. I see it happening. He's just a little baby, a little 8 pounds, 6 ounces. Hadn't even said a word yet.
I lost my place. What number are we on? 11?
11.
Kridantam antar vrajam atmanam svam samam vayasaye pashu palapalaye premna yashoda prajuhava krishnam Govinda Damodara Madhaveti.
In Vrajadam, in Vrindavan, Krishna was playing with his playmates, the boys of his age, who protected the animals. That was their business. With great love, Mother Yashoda called out to her own son, "Oh, Govinda Damodara Madhava."
This is, by the way, we do this every time. If you're a Patreon member, I give a class called Sweet Baby Krishna, and we do a stotram, a prayer every day. We run through it. Sometimes I pull up a YouTube video so we could follow along. We go through it with the Sanskrit and the English, and it's sort of charming. It brings you into a level of appreciation of divinity, and then we tell stories, a couple different stories, and then we close it by reading a little bit from the Krishna book. So we're doing that tonight, right, Mara? Is today Friday? Or is today Thursday?
Thursday today.
Oh, sorry about that.
Tomorrow night at 7 p.m.
I got pandemic brain. I was like, what day it is? What season is it?
Your daughter's birthday, Raghu.
My daughter's birthday. Yes, I know that. Thank you. My
Happy
daughter's
birthday to
15.
Sachi.
She's been good all these
15?
years. She's 15 this year.
All right. They're breaking up over there.
Okay.
Text 12.
I'm lost. 12. Yashodaya gadam uluk halang lena gokanta pasena ne badyamanam ruroda mandam nave niti boji Govinda Damodara Madhaveti.
Navanita Poji. That's what you should name your little deity there. Eater of stolen butter. Being firmly tied up to the grinding mortar with the cow's rope by Mother Yashoda, the plunderer of butter softly whimpered, Govinda Damodara Madhava.
Nijangane kankana keli lolam gopi grihit vana vanita golam. Amar doyat panita lena netra Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Okay,
little Krishna's getting into trouble here. In his own courtyard, Krishna was carelessly playing with the bracelet. Maybe it was like made of glass or something like that, right?
Mm.
So the gopi took a ball of butter to him, and shutting his eyes with her palm, she distracted him. Oh, Govinda Damodara Madhava, guess what I have for you?
Grihe grihe gopavadu kadamba sarve militva samavaye yuge punyani namani patanti nityam Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. I think I'm getting my Sanskrit down.
You're getting better, Robert. In house after house, groups of cowherd ladies gather on various occasions, and together they always chant the transcendental names of Krishna, Govinda, Damodara, and Madhava. That's what you do in the spiritual world, kirtan.
Mandara mule vandana biraman pidadare purita venunadam gopa gopi jana madhya samstang Govinda Damodara Madhaveti.
His face is pleasing, and the flute at his lips is filled with divine sound. Amidst the cows, gopas, and gopis, he stands at the base of a coral tree, Govinda, Damodar, Madhava.
My birthday girl is awake. Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday, Sachi.
Thank you.
All right, I'm lost.
15, that means you can do whatever you want now.
You're 15. When it all broke down.
Lord
No,
knows I
she's
was.
great. She's a great kid. All right, what number are we on?
16.
16. Utaya Gopya Para.
She walked in right when we did 15. Look at that.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, Udaya Gopya Para Ratra Boge Smritya Yashoda Suta. I'm sorry. Smritva Yashoda Suta Balam Kelim Kayanti Prochara Dati Mantayantyo Govinda Damodara Madhaveti.
Or kirtan. Having risen early in the Brahma Muhurta, in the early hours, and remembering the childish activities of the son of Mother Yashoda, the gopis loudly sing while churning butter. Govinda Damodara Madhava. It's hearing and chanting. You know, they're just remembering. They're remembering Krishna's pastimes. In their hearts are full of love, and naturally they sing. That's kirtan. You know, sing full of love.
Jagdo Tata Navinita Navan Nita Pindo Kriha Yashoda Vichik Sayanti Uvacha Satyam Vadehe Murari Govinda Damodara Madhaveti.
Having churned and then set aside a fresh lump of butter in the house, Mother Yashoda was now suspicious. It had been eaten. She said, "Hey, Murari, Govinda, Damodar, Madhava, now tell me the truth. Did you steal that butter?"
And Jeff Eisenberg writes on the board, I got my first tattoo at 15. My daughter pointed to it. Don't you dare. Pachit prabhate dati purna patre. Oops.
Nope, you skipped one.
Acharya geham yuvati pravrida prema pravaha dati nirmamanta kayanti gopyosta saki sameta Govinda Damodara Madhaveti.
Okay, so we've been hearing about the elderly gopis. That's Raghunath's camp, right? How the elderly gopis are singing these names, absorbed in thought of Krishna, with a certain type of love, affection for that little baby. Now we're going to hear about the girl, you know, like the younger girl who's in love with Krishna like a lover. And so it says, having finished worship at home, being a good girl, right? A young gopi, like a strong current of love for Krishna, churn the butter, and then joins together with all the gopis and their friends, and they sing, Govinda Damodara Madhava.
Vachit prabhate dati purna patre nikshipya mantam yuvati mukundam alokya ganam vividam karoti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti.
One time early in the morning, just as a girl had put aside her churn in a pot full of butter, she saw Mukunda, Krishna. She then began to sing songs in various ways about Govinda, Damodar, and Madhava.
By the way, I sent out the link for these texts if you want to read along with them if you're listening on Zoom. Krita param bojana majanartang hitashinistri tanujam yashoda ajuhavat prema pari plutaski Govinda Damodara Madhaveti.
Without having even bathed or eaten, Krishna was absorbed in play. That's
Very
not
naughty.
proper, right? Overwhelmed with affection, Mother Yashoda, who thought only of her son's welfare, called out, Govinda, Damodar, Madhava, come take your bath and eat something. It's hard to break this flow, Raghu. We just ran out of time.
We just ran out of time. You know, I really love people from Bombay, their accent when they speak English. Oh, my baby is very naughty. Just they speak perfect English, but I can't understand a word they say. Oh, no, no, no. How does she say?
There's one more I want to read over here. This is
Okay,
one of my
please
favorites.
dive
Ready?
in.
28. Go vatsabalai shishukakapaksham bandanatam abhoja dalayataksham uvachamata shibukam grihitva Govinda Damodara Madhava. The lotus-eyed Lord, Krishna, was tying the shika, the little ponytail, of a cowherd boy to the tail of a calf.
That old trick.
Oh, trick, right? Without them knowing it, you tie someone's hair to the tail of a calf, and then you tell the calf to go, and then the person's got their heads. That's Krishna, right? That's how God is playing around. The lotus-eyed Lord was tying the shika of a cowherd boy to the tail of a calf when his mother caught him, lifted up his chin, and said, Govinda Damodara Madhava, what are you doing here? Right? I love this stocha. I mean,
thank you for that. Hey, I just want to mention our Super Soul Farm 200-hour teacher training takes place starting the first weekend of July 17th for 4 consecutive weekends. And then there's some homework in there. It's led by me and Bobby Marchand, who's here today, this morning, and Kaustubha Prabhu. If you'd like to join us, check out supersoulyoga.com/supersoulfarmytt. Thanks for everybody joining us on Apple Podcasts. Give us a shout out and give us a review. We'd appreciate that. Thanks for all of the people out there, the others writing in, telling us what you think of the show. I'm always looking for critique and criticism. And thanks for everybody on Zoom, especially those who joined late that I didn't just say good morning to, because I really think it's important to look a person in the eye and say good morning to them. Now's your favorite time of the show. It's time we put up our hands, grab your daughter. It's time to grab your daughter. Tell her you love her.
happy
Kiss her on
birthday.
the forehead. Tell her it's going to be a great year. It's time to lip sync.